Hey everybody, what's going on? KSA Kris here, the Real Estate Blitz. I'm excited today. So real quick background. First off, the Real Estate Blitz, as you all know, and I always try to say this is something that was put together to help agents that can't afford coaching, even though you should go out and get coaching from somebody. This is something that I just do for fun. And while I was doing the Real Estate Blitz, I actually got contacted by Christopher Waters, who's our guest today, Chris Waters, and he sent me his book. Now, if you haven't looked at the Real Estate Blitz, I did it on Facebook. I also did it on YouTube. I did a roll-up from that book, and I'm actually listening. Show it again, because I'm going to tell everybody this book changed my entire business. It changed my life, and it wasn't that long ago that he gave it to me. I ended up tearing down my entire brokerage and rebuilding it because of that book. So outside of that, I'm listening to it again, and I'm going to show you. And, and anybody that's watched the Blitz for, however long it's been, years now, I think that I started it. I don't pitch anything. All I ever talk about is something that I may be interested in or something that's working for me, but put it right here. I got it on audiobook. Okay, I'm listening to the audiobook and I'm making my wife listen to it with me as well. For people that are out in the Riverside market, which is kind of cool because I started doing the mastermind sessions out of our local brokerage here. And I have a lot of people that are just showing up because they watch Real Estate Blitz, which I appreciate. Here's the thing. I talked about this book online. I got a phone call from Lisa Force out in this area. She is the #1 real estate team and #1 real estate agent in Southern California. And her book that she bought looks like it's been beat up. Okay, it has been used and abused, and she was one of the ones when I told her that I had gotten a book. She's like, "You got to read it." I've read that thing cover to cover physically 3 times. I'm listening to it over and over almost daily because there's so much information in the book that it's overwhelming. And every time I listen to it, I get something new out of it. Now, I'm not being mean. So for those of you that are out there drinking the red Kool-Aid and that love Keller Williams, it's nothing mean. I did a review on the Keller Williams book as well. Good book. Not this book. I'm telling you. And again, I don't pitch anything. Kris, are you paying me any money to say this?
Not $1, man. But I need to record this because this is great. This is the best endorsement I think I've ever had.
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you exactly how I feel. Okay, so you haven't paid me any money. Have you given me any favors or anything? Have you done anything for me?
Nope. Nothing,
no.
Man.
So I've never taken anything. Like when I did the interview with the CEO from Sync and all these other people, I've never taken anything. I've never asked for anything. I've been offered sponsorships for the Real Estate Blitz. I won't take them because I do this for fun. I don't do it to make money. And this book changed my entire business. So I want to talk a lot about the book. I also sat through one of your webinars just because I was curious, and actually it's driving me personally. I'm getting ready to become a client. So I want to talk a little bit about that, but I also, in the very beginning, I want to talk about the meat of who you are, your business. And I think, so this is, again, anybody that's watched the Real Estate Blitz, and I have a lot of followers. One of the biggest things for me is I hate listening to gurus that aren't or never have produced. Okay, so let me say that again. I hate listening to gurus that have never produced. I don't mind listening to gurus that used to produce, but why not listen to a guru that is producing? So that's one of the first things, because to me, that's a qualifier. Now, get it, Kris, just hear me out. And I keep talking, but I'm going to shut up here in a second, I promise. All right. So this is my view. Bill Belichick, wonderful coach, one of the best coaches that's ever lived in the NFL. Bill Belichick was never a Tom Brady. There's no doubt. Okay. There are Bill Belichicks out there that can find a way to make people succeed, win, and drive a team. I do believe that. However, when it comes to this business, I don't want to learn how to become $1 million real estate agent or how to build $1 million team from somebody that's never sold a piece of freaking real estate. That's just me. Because all I hear from them is they're regurgitating crap that they've heard from one of their clients that they're charging money from. And I'm not a fan. I'm not. So that's just my opinion. Now I'll shut up. So Kris, thank you for being on. I appreciate it.
Man, thanks for having me. That was a hell of an introduction. Thank you so much.
All I do is talk from my heart. When I do these things, and I think the reason why people like the Blitz is it's raw. Again, I'm not being paid, and I don't have to pander to anybody. When I had my live radio show on ESPN, I started this because I hated pandering. Oh, well, your sponsor at Home Depot says they want this. No. So now I don't have to pander to anybody. I can say whatever I want. It can be as uneducated as I want it to be. Fake news, if you will. So it's pretty cool. But I'm excited to have you on. So for those that don't know you, please tell us who you are.
Yeah. So, well, I grew up in Austin, in the greater Austin, Texas area. And, man, I think the thing that I got that, I'm incredibly lucky and grateful for is I think my DNA, like through and through, is a true entrepreneur, not the the people that see stuff on social media and they want to be entrepreneurs because they want to make a lot of money. Like that's just how my brain works. And so that's something I was super blessed with when I was born. As Gary Vee says on the Gary Vee show, his parents had sex at the right time.
Yeah.
So anyways, man, the truth is like, I grew up with a single mom. I didn't have a lot of money growing up, and always felt like I was coming from a place of lack, and I was a very motivated and driven kid. Probably didn't get the benefits a lot of people get. To be involved in sports and stuff growing up. I had to go mow lawns and make money to buy my own equipment. So I learned the value of hard work really early on. And I went to college, paid my way through college, mowing yards. And when I graduated from college, I joined a real estate team as a buyer's agent. And I quickly realized, so this was back in 2006. I quickly realized as a buyer's agent, there was a ceiling as to how many deals I could close, just because there's only so many hours in a day. And unfortunately, I was, working on a team where, that team wasn't the type of team that was going to just keep growing and growing and growing and growing. They just wanted me to convert their leads, right? And like, there wasn't an upward career trajectory path. And so because I saw that ceiling, I was like, man, this isn't what I want to be a part of. I want like forward progress, never ending forward progress, and no ceiling on my income ability and just personal growth. And so I got out. At the time, the oil and gas industry was super hot. Got in the oil and gas industry, and 3 years later, market crashes. 2009, price of natural gas drops 300%, and I'm out of a job. And to be honest, I was completely miserable during that job. Like I was I was getting paid like a fixed rate per day for what I was doing. And I was out, I was basically what's called landman, getting oil and gas leases signed. And I freaking hated it. I was unbelievably miserable. And I was just basically trying to save money and figure out what the next opportunity was. So 2009, market crashes. I'm out of a job again. And I do some research, and they say bars and restaurants, when the market goes down, alcohol sales go up. And so I invested in this bar, and 9 months after the bar and restaurant opens, it's closed. And I lost every penny to my name, from mowing lawns as a kid to selling the lawn mowing business to all the money I saved, in the oil and gas business, and dead broke. And I lost everything. And I was reading this book called The $1 Million Real Estate Agent. And I was like completely inspired. I was like, man, that's like the North Star. I was like, that's it, man. I can have control of my destiny. If the market's bad, you can call expired. I was like, dude, that's the path right there. And so, in the summer of 2000, like I literally owed so many people so many money. Like I tried to implement everything in the $1 Million Real Estate Agent book, like really, really fast. And so like 6 months into being an agent, like I'd only, just for context, like I was only a buyer's agent back in 2006 for 3 months.
Right.
So like I didn't, so like 2010, I started up as a real estate agent. And here's something really crazy, maybe not a lot of people know, is I kept my license active since 2006. And in Texas, they had really loose regulations around getting your broker's license. And so I got my broker's license in the summer of 2010, and I'd only sold 6 houses. That's it, six houses.
Right.
And man, if anybody at the Texas Real Estate Commission is watching this, I hope they don't pull my license. So, anyways, I in the summer so I'm reading the book, and I'm like doing everything. I'm hammering expireds, withdrawals. I'm getting, I'm going on listing appointments. I was, to be honest, I was really sucking at it at the beginning, but it started getting a little better and better. And I've got all these people calling me saying, hey, dude, like you owe me 20 grand. I got the liquor store calling me. I got the Texas alcohol beverage, because like the business got shut down, and I still owed all these people money. And I was like, God, I got to grow faster. And then I had another huge epiphany. I heard about this amazing system called Boomtown. So in 2010, Boomtown was like, man, it was like the bee's knees. It was like the newest thing out.
I had Boomtown in 2010.
So I get the Boomtown platform, right? I put it on a credit card in 2010, and I start generating like 500, 600, 700, 800 leads. And I was like, dang, I need to recruit some agents to work these leads. And so I literally spent the summer of 2010 like crushing the recruiting aspect, and I recruited 20 agents in the summer of 2010. Now that may sound amazing, but here's where I hit a brick wall. So a year goes by and I got these 20 agents, and in the summer of 2011, a year later, I'm like looking at how many deals we closed, and 18 of my agents had closed 18 deals. 18 agents closed 18 deals. And
Wow.
I was like, boom. I'm like, dude, I suck. Like,
You can recruit them, but if they aren't trained and ready.
yeah, man. I was like, man, I seriously at that point, like, that feeling when you're just like feeling crushed. You're just like mentally, you're like, I need to go do something else. This isn't right for me.
Right.
I'm not a leader. I'm not a coach. I'm not a trainer. I can't make people successful. Like, just all this doubt clouds your mind, and feel this heavy weight on your shoulder, and you're like, dude, I need to peace out. I need to ring the bell. Anyways, so in the summer of 2011, I was like, you know what? Like, I need to start learning. Like, I need to start, like, if I'm going to recruit people and take other people, be responsible for other people's success, I got to start learning how to make other people be successful. And so in order to do that, I had to learn how to be a better agent myself, because like I hadn't even sold that many houses. So I got into sales coaching. I went through a plethora of sales coaching programs, and started to learn how to be a great agent. And I, kind of discovered there's like 3 dominoes to being a great agent.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, you got to master inside sales, being able to set appointments, manage your pipeline, to do activities, etc. Second domino you got to master as an agent is outside sales. So like meeting somebody face to face and getting them committed to working with you.
Right.
And then the third step, which is the last one, actually, this is the last thing you need to learn, is be a market expert. So it's like counterintuitive, right? Like, you don't even need to know how to write an offer, just as long as you can get people to get in front of you face to face, right?
Right.
So anyways, I learned that, and I kept chasing this North Star of being this $1 million agent, and it was all about me, like, hey, I'm gonna get the cool cars, and I'm gonna have freedom and travel and all this stuff. And what happened was, between the summer of 2011 to 2013, literally 24 months later, in that final 12 months in 2013, we closed 325 closings, and just shy of 100 million in sales. And like,
right on.
What's crazy about that is, in the summer of 2010, summer of 2011, I didn't tell you guys this, but like, I literally let everybody go except one guy. And so I started it all over. And what I realized is like, I got to stop thinking about me and how I be a better agent and how I can make more money. And I got to start focusing on how to help other people get what they want. And if I can do that, and I can help them understand the career trajectory path to be a great agent,
right,
they're going to have successful. And in return, that's going to be, that's going to help me be successful. And so that for the following 2 years, that's what I obsessed on. That's what I worked on. And, in 2013, we sold 320 some houses. And every year, we kept growing. We did like 400 the next year, 500 next year. And so anyways, I mean, that was a big secret to the growth. And, the thing was, like, I went through all these coaching programs, all the masterminds, all that stuff. I spent hundreds of thousands on it over the years. And I was going into these, masterminds, conferences, whatever. And like, people that I would meet, and I would see at all the conferences, like, they weren't growing as fast as me. And I was like, man, what's wrong? Like, why aren't you growing, And I started, kind of coaching them for free, like telling them what to do. And like, all of a sudden, like, they got it, and their
right,
team started growing, like 50, I mean, man, I had one guy that went from like 20 some odd sales to like 97 his first year. And then I had one guy that relocated to a brand new city, and he didn't know a soul there, no family. Like, him and his wife were young. They just fell in love with the hill country in the southern part of Texas. And he got to over 20 closings per month, every month within 18 months. And anyway, so I started having all these really like cool success stories from like coaching people. And a lot of people were like, man, Kris, you should share your story, because nobody has like really documented the roadmap you got to go through.
Right.
So
And I think you said it best earlier. So I just want to stop right there real quick. So the red book, okay?
yep.
I heard it when I was a new agent, and I hear agents talk about, oh, the red book, the red book. The red book it's sort of a framework, but there's so many holes in it. In my opinion, I think as I've gained experience and I built, a mega team, then a mega brokerage, and just the success I've had, there are holes in it, and it doesn't tell you the different things that you're going to go through. When I read your book, now it told the story. What I liked about is the very beginning of it. There was deep sarcasm but it's true. It's true sarcasm that makes sense for anybody that's gone through the struggle or trying to go through the struggle to get there. The sarcasm that's there. It's like, if you are going to do this and you're going to suck anyways, just stop reading the book. This isn't for you. Thanks for spending the money, but like
Yeah.
you're going to fail. If you refuse to do these things, you're going to fail. And if you're going to lie to yourself, well, do that on your own time. Don't do it here. You're going to suck. And I love that because it preps for the entire story. I liked in the beginning of it, you told your story, the buildup, and then it starts going into usable, quantifiable information that you can put into action. And I don't see that I haven't seen it. I read 3 to 4 books a month. I listen to probably 2 to 3 audiobooks on top of that per month. And I still haven't found anything where there's actionable items. You do this specifically. Now you still leave it loose to where the individual has to go through certain struggles to figure it out, which I love, because I think if you just say, do this, people just will be like a big dumb animal, strong as ox, dumb as rocks. And then in the process, they don't actually grow. You need to go through some adversity to grow. But I mean, I loved how you put it into usable, consumable content. And again, I'm trying not to sound pitchy. And I even told my wife before I jumped on, I'm like, I'm going to sound like I'm pitching for this guy, and I never do it on the Blitz, but the book is fantastic. So, okay, I'm done. Go on, go finish up.
No, man, that's good. I really appreciate that.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, like, so there's so many great coaching programs out there, and like, I love Gary Keller's book. Like, it was a great starting point. He did write the book like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And the thing that I realized is like, Robert, for those of you guys that have read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, he has this little quadrant. And in the quadrant at the top corner is you got an E for an employee. And then below that, you got the S for self-employed. And then at the top right-hand corner, you got the business owner. And then below there, you got an investor. And so he says, everybody is one of these 4 things. And the biggest myth in real estate is that when you become a real estate agent, you're led to believe that you are a business owner, but it's not true. The difference between somebody self-employed and a business owner is a business owner does not trade their time for money. Yep. And so what I realized is like, I had to go through this journey of learning how to be a better leader to become a business owner. And that path of leadership to help others succeed, that nobody talks about that. Like, for example, as a real estate agent, everybody's just like told, you got to prospect every day, 3 hours, time block, hit 40 contacts, this number of appointments, this number of buyer reps or listing sign, like, boom, 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 boom. But nobody talks about the transition of going from an agent to like running a business. So for example, like one of the key pivots from a time perspective is one of the first steps you have to make from a transition to become a business owner is you got to stop prospecting buyers and sellers, which probably sounds crazy to most people. But what you got to start focusing on is finding talent. So you start spending an exorbitant amount of time prospecting talent and getting face to face with people to start building an organization. And what's crazy is like, I look back in time and I'm like, of course, every time I hired some rock star, like they were the highest return on investment I could ever have. So,
well, I think a lot of real estate agents are confused. They think that being a real estate agent is, and you mentioned an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, but really what they've done is created their own job. Exactly. They've created a job for themselves. Now there's nothing wrong with that. I think there's a lot, I would say the majority of agents, which is fine. I get people that call me from all over the country from watching the Blitz, and they go, they're very comfortable and good with working on a team or just being an agent. But if you want more, then you can't, you're lying to yourself if you think doing the prospecting every day is really what it is. And I agree with you 100%. And it seems so rudimentary, but it's never talked about. It's rarely talked about. and nobody really puts it into a context where it's consumable. So I think whoever ends up watching this, because the majority of the views, I'll get thousands of views once this goes up on YouTube, a majority of the views will be on there. And, the reality is whoever ends up watching this video, they want to be a business owner. They don't want to be an agent. And again, nothing wrong with being an agent. There's nothing wrong with wanting to prospect and do 10, 15, or 20 deals a month individually. But you're living and dying by that individual sweat.
Man, the thing I think most, if you're in a market where Open Door, for example, or OfferPads or Rex, or Zillow, if you're in a market where one of those companies is buying homes, and you probably feel it because Wall Street and venture capital has raised tens of billions of dollars. And Zillow and these huge companies, they're becoming like national teams. And so I guarantee you, this is being recorded right now. Right. The real estate industry in 12 months is not going to look anything like it does right now. 12 months from now. And y'all are probably like, that's such a bold statement, so crazy. So in markets all across the US, these companies funded by Wall Street and funded by venture capitalists, they're not just raising 50 million. Go Google Open Door. They've raised over $1 billion. They're going into markets. For example, I'm in Austin, Texas. They're in Austin, Texas right now. They came here 4 months ago. The number of listings I would get from certain lead sources has dropped 50%. And they are, and I'm the biggest spender in Austin, Texas. I spent over $1 million in lead generation in Austin, Texas. They're outspending me by 3 times, 300% more. And they're buying listings, and they don't have to make a profit. I don't know how many people know the story about Amazon, but Amazon, they were in the game of a strategy, long-term strategy. Their strategy, which most companies that raise $1 billion plus, they're thinking about 10 years. And so the 10-year strategy for these companies that have raised huge amounts of money is to buy brand equity and top of mind awareness at scale across the entire United States. So if you're an agent and you're self-employed and you're jack of all trades, I guarantee you're either going to have to join a team or you're going to be working for one of these companies as one of their, I hate to say the word mule, but basically that's what you become, because they're, again, if you're not familiar with Open Door has an app, and you click on the app as a home buyer and you show yourself the house. You don't have to call anybody. And Open Door does it. They pay a 1% commission to buyer agents. Now, I haven't even talked about Realtor.com, who bought Obsidian. Now they're taking 35% of the commission, right? And now Zillow's buying houses, and they're a licensed brokerage in multiple states. And the market is changing super, super fast. If you're watching this and you're in one of the major markets where Open Door is, so DFW, Fort Worth, Atlanta, Minneapolis, Portland, Tampa. If you're in a major market, I guarantee you're feeling this. I'm getting texts daily from real estate agents freaking out. They're like, dude, my client got an offer that was above what I could even sell their house for. And people are like, how are they doing this? They can't do this. They can't make a profit. I'm like,
they sure can.
Well, dude, they don't have to make a profit. They don't need to. Their goal is to build brand awareness, and they're going to do that by leveraging billions of dollars. And then the other way they're going to make money, for the people that want to know more about the back end, is they're all acquiring mortgage and title companies. So the real estate brokerage piece is becoming a loss leader. It's a loss leader to get the deal so that then they can get all the back end money. So, this is the same kind of strategy Amazon implemented. Again, most of you guys probably know Amazon didn't make money for over a decade. So, the real estate market is getting disrupted. And if you think you're going to continue being an agent, an independent agent selling 20, 30 homes, there's some pretty competitive, amazing agents out there, and I'm sure they'll find a way to survive. Right. But the game is freaking changing.
You won't be able to outspend, outmarket, outmaneuver, outwork. You can't do it individually. I think I agree with you 100%. And, so to give backstory on me, the only reason I became an agent is because of my wife. I actually had been an investor and flipping homes for 20 plus years now. And I did not like real estate agents. I still don't. I talk about it on the Real Estate Blitz all the time. I don't like real estate agents because I think they're overpaid. They do very little work for the amount of money they get. They're arrogant. I remember I had an agent walk up to me one day. I was going on a listing appointment. At that time, I think I was doing like 20 deals a month. He goes, "Oh, your shoe game is weak." And I was like, "Your bank account is weak. I mean, like, what are you talking about? What does that even mean? So you have nice shoes, but when was the last time you did, how many deals did you do? None. You did 3 last year. Shut up." So it's because of that the market, the individual, in my opinion, the individual that's selling a home or buying a home, and because they're able to go out and self-educate online, and really the self-education is being fed to them, let's be honest, especially if somebody can afford to do it, they're going to start making decisions, and already are making those decisions. And if you're an individual agent and you can't outspend, outwork, outmaneuver, or just swarm areas because you have a team with you or behind you, I don't think you're going to make it. I would say, within the next 3 years, the average real estate agent is going to be an extinct species. And that's just my opinion.
My theory is that these iBuyers like Zillow and Zillow, by the way, they already own the market. People go to see what their house is worth. Like Zillow hasn't even taken off yet on the instant offers. So the company leading the pack right now is Open Door. Like they're already in, I think, over a dozen markets. Right. And every single person I know in one of those markets that's like, has a killer team is like, dude, we've all been texting like the last 2 to 3 months. Like, dude, are you feeling this? Like, dude, 50% drop. You too? Like, we're all like, holy shit. Sorry, excuse my French, but
you can cuss. Like, this is the Real Estate Blitz. I cuss all the time.
Yeah, it's like it's changing so freaking fast, and so it's something else interesting I love to like talk about is a lot of people on real estate teams, right? Like the commission is less advantageous because the team burdens the expense of a lot of stuff. And what one thing I really hate is like the big, locally owned, like big box broker or whatever company it is, they try stealing your people.
Right.
And the thing like a lot of agents don't understand is that brokerage is offering you what I like to call a gross split. It's a gross split. What I mean by that is once you go there, you've got that split, plus you got to back out all your expenses on top of that. So that's not your net. When you join a team, though, like they're kind of bankrolling your success. They're giving you tax and leads, maybe an office, like they're covering a vast majority of your splits. And so the team model offers a net split. The big broker is offering a gross split. And I can't even tell you how many agents I'll meet. And they're like, they're crushing it in my market in Austin. And I'm like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, when you file your tax return, like, what is your adjusted gross income at the bottom? And they're like, oh, well, I made like 39 or close to 40%. And I'm like, okay, you could have been on a team, for example, and made 50% and had no expenses except your car, your health insurance, which, you'd have anywhere as an agent, even at the big box brokerage that's giving you more advantageous splits. And you wouldn't have a team of people working to coach you to be a better person. You would instead, you would be at some big box brokerage and they would be trying to upsell you all this stuff. They'd be trying to upsell you.
They're always trying to stick their hands in your pockets. I'm not a big fan of big box brokerages at all. The one thing that I think I didn't hear you say, which I find is unique, is not only are you losing the opportunity because you aren't with a team and you're with a big box brokerage, but the big one is now you need to learn how to become an expert at all of the other stuff instead of just focusing on being an expert at being a real estate agent and converting individuals to make more money. And, I've seen it. I've seen agents leave, even like our team, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, I'm going to make more money. And then they really don't, because now they have to teach themselves how to do social media. They have to teach themselves how to do inbounds, teach themselves how to do a lot of these different things, internet. They're having to teach themselves and then invest, not only that, but then invest their own capital and cash and lose a lot in order to learn. Most of the time, if you walk onto a producing team, that loss has already been learned. And that's what's making that brand awareness. And that's another one. You're going out there, you're nobody in the market, as opposed to walking behind something that you're guaranteed you're going to be walking into success. On our small team, new agent, I tell them within 3 months, you should be doing 5 deals a month minimum. And we're in the San Diego Riverside market. So for a dumpster fire house out here, it's $450,000. So it's a pretty good commission. If you're doing 5, and I have senior guys like Adam, he's doing 10 plus deals a month. And that's just kind of what he does. It's fantastic. You can't. It's hard to do that on your own. Sure is.
Man, I hope people that are watching this, if you are an individual agent, for example, and you're not on a team, like I'm not trying to convince people to go join a team. I'm just telling you like what's going on in the industry and where I see the future. But the thing I would encourage you to do if you don't want to be on a team is go start your own team. There's something you can go and Google on, go look up and research is economies of scale. And so when you have a team of people, you get a lot more efficient. For example, if you're buying leads, right, and you're a single agent, or maybe it's only you and 2 other people, if you're buying leads, those leads come in at all times of day, like 7 days a week. And you need around-the-clock coverage for speed to lead so that you can convert them and get a return on investment from that lead. So that's a small example of how you get some efficiencies. Another, a beautiful thing about the team model is if you have a transaction coordinator, for example, and you can split that cost among multiple agents, those agents each close more deals, and the percentage of that fixed cost for that transaction coordinator, their percentage expense on your P&L becomes less and less of your total gross revenue because your agents are now able to do more deals. So that's like the beauty of economies of scale. That's what happens with the team model. And so if you're watching this, I'm not saying I'm not saying you have to go join a team, but like seriously, you need to look into building a team of highly skilled specialists that can create all these efficiencies so that you can survive and thrive as the market changes.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying is if you don't join a team or if you don't look to create a team, you may not survive with what's getting ready to take place. Am I correct?
Yeah, and some people might say like, oh, whatever, I have this amazing database and whatever, and like, cool, I get that, but like, the thing you should be mindful of is consumers are going to start going on these various platforms, right, like Zillow and Redfin, and they're going to start getting offered all these value propositions of working with a preferred agent on that platform. And for example, and most of you guys know, like Keller Williams rolled this thing out where you can use KW's mortgage company, Kelly Mortgage or whatever it's called, and like the consumer doesn't pay any closing costs. So KW is, if I understand correctly, KW is using mortgage as a value proposition to differentiate from the competition. Versus, Open Door and Zillow, they're going to use brokerage as a loss leader and then make the money on the back end of mortgage.
Right.
So, like as an individual agent, you don't have these advantages. So you got to figure out how to up your game on the value proposition side because agents consumers are going to be getting dangled all kinds of crazy loss leader value propositions.
So let's talk about that. What value propositions would you recommend? Like if you were just throwing stuff out there and you're like, I think this is what agents should be doing.
Yeah, great question. So on the buy side, a big value proposition for us is we tell consumers if you buy a home through us and you're unhappy, like we'll list it at no charge. You won't have to pay us a commission if you decide that this isn't the right house for you. So we call it our Love It or Leave It program. So that's one little unique value proposition. We've got some other big perks for buyers. On the listing side, I have the unique ability, because we've been super blessed here in Austin to where I can offer both an immediate buyout program and a guaranteed sale program. So like, I'm not just like putting up smoke and mirrors. Like I'm buying, right. Like I personally, like our team is probably buying 40, 50 houses a year, and that number is going up.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a great value proposition of like, I think for a team is there are ways to get, so I use something called an asset guidance line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's basically like cash. I can close in 24 hours as long as I have a title commitment. And with teams, and when you're putting everybody's funds together, right? You know what I mean? Like, and the team leader's smart and he's building his reserves as the business is growing. You can use that as collateral to get really large lines, asset guidance lines of credit. So, and then that's how you can back up your guaranteed sale or immediate buyout. So like the benefit of working with us as a consumer is that the consumer will get the first option of like, hey, here's what your house is worth retail, fair market value. Here's our guaranteed sale program if we don't sell it after 59 days. And third, here's what we can pay if you want to be cashed out like right now. Like we'll
Right.
get you an offer within 24 hours and we'll be closing in 7 days. Like you pick the closing date, no repairs, no closing costs, whatever, you cash out. And it's very similar to what Open Door, Redfin, and Zillow
Yeah,
do.
that's pretty cool. And I hadn't even thought about that. I know we do a renovate to sell program on our team. So, because our spreads are so big, we'll go look at a house and it's as is condition. If we were to put it on market, it's only worth 350,000. However, if we put 50,000 into it, it could actually be worth $525,000. Look at the return that you would get. We'll actually front the money. It's going to be at 10%, blah, blah, blah. We have contractor comes in. They actually deal with the contractor and pay the contractor out of escrow. And then we run it through our escrow company. So we do something very but that's one of our, that way we can convert them. I'm either, because I've been a flipper for a long time. So I'm going to buy it in cash, renovate to sell if it's not a cash deal for me, or we can just sell it and it's as is condition. So
Yep.
I love that you're doing that. And actually I might take that advice and try to figure out how to do it.
Man, I mean, I'd implement it because like this Open Door is in Riverside, California. And like, I guarantee you they are hammering radio and TV and billboard. And this is the message they're pushing, like no commissions, no closing costs, no repairs. And, if you want to compete and be heard by the consumer, like you got to appease the immediate gratification consumers want these days.
Love that.
And so, like this is hard to do as an individual agent. Like how could you go get a line of credit for $5 million, right? As an individual agent selling 20 houses. Now, if those 20 houses are like $10 million each, and you're bringing in like $1 million, $2 million, then maybe you can. But the luxury buyer, they don't care about the guaranteed sale program or immediate buyout. Like they just want a trusted resource that they know is going to get the job done. For them, it's not about the convenience or the immediate need, because like there's just not that many transactions happening at that price point, and they know that.
Right.
So if you're an agent helping out the average consumer, right? Like maybe in Austin, Texas, it's 200 to 500,000. You're going to be affected by these iBuyers. In fact, in Austin, for example, Open Door only buys up to 500,000. So the only people protected from the iBuyer in Austin are people that are representing clients over 500,000. So anyways, the key thing is like over the next 5 years, the market is going to change immensely. It's literally changing right now, like every day, like it's changing super, super fast. And it's just a function of literally like people watching this, like don't even understand like how much money daily is being spent across the country. I mean, to build mind share, to disrupt the industry. Like people, agents have no clue right now. If you went to Inman, last year, Francisco, and Brad Inman was interviewing Gary Keller on stage, and it was like this it was crazy, man. I was sitting like front row, and like it's a love-hate thing, right, with KW. Like I love them because they they've paved the way. But I also, like you, I think there were some holes in the book, and like I try to take it with a grain of salt because the book is 20 years old. Yep. But my point is Gary was up on stage and he's saying like, hey, the industry is, people aren't going to notice. People aren't going to notice like what this industry looks like in 12 to 24 months. And I heard that and I was like, dude, whatever. I was like, like I've been doing a bunch of research on AI and everything I was reading says you can kind of compare AI to the car industry. And AI is kind of like back when the car industry was in the 1930s, when we had the the T-Bird, or what was that thing called? Anyways,
you're talking about basically the four-window coupe, the original Ford T-Coupe, which is they came in black, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and it's like none of these cars had great brakes and like this is suspension. It's like that's where AI is. Like AI is like kind of like the car industry in the 1930s. Like it has so far to go.
Wait till it takes off, right?
And so in my mind, I was like, back then last summer when I heard him say that, I was like, I heard that, and then I also had read all this stuff about AI, and I'm like, man, it's so far away. Agents can't get eliminated anytime. I mean, that it's gonna be 10 years before that can happen. And what's crazy is it's not the AI that's taking massive market share. It's the iBuyer that's helping out the average consumer from a convenience perspective. And people might be like, oh, that's so stupid. They're going to give up, a couple points of their house in equity. But what does everybody do with a car? Right? What do you do with your car? Do you trade it in? Like, how many people on this call right now, comment in the chat box, how many people trade in your car and take probably a 5% hit, or maybe greater, maybe 10% hit,
Right.
Versus selling it on your own and making that extra profit?
And the reality is, it's because it's become such commonplace that people don't even think about it. They don't even realize, there's more money in selling used cars than there is new cars. And the reason why is because everybody, the average consumer, is just okay with, I already know this is going to happen. They don't even think about it. It's become the normal. It is the de facto standard now, which is why a majority of people won't sell their own car. I love that you said that. That's pretty extremely freaking insightful and scary at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I wish, like, man, it's God. I wish I got started in this industry like 30 years ago.
Right.
I wouldn't have to deal with all this. But I mean, it's the climate we're in, and the industry is changing, and a lot of people are going to get out. Hopefully, a lot of people make the decision super quickly to either start a team and like take action now to take advantage of economies of scale. Because if you're not, I guarantee you're going to end up being, I hate using this word, but I swear, I feel like these companies are trying to treat agents like mules, like Redfin, for example. Like, they want to eliminate real estate agents. Like, that's the founder's goal. The founder's goal is to eliminate agents.
But it doesn't, I get it though. I mean, I get it. I walk around the office, or I'll talk to agents, or I'm doing the mastermind. When I listen to the things that come out of the majority, I don't want to say the majority, but it's kind of true. When I listen to what comes out of a lot of agents' mouths, I get it. It's like they are so not good at what they do, and they don't know how to get better at what they do. And in the process, I had a couple agents that I knew recently that were in a brokerage, and they left because they just want a job. They had this idea, but they don't want to put in the work to actually be successful. They don't want to go through the struggle in order to be successful. They don't want to give up in order to get. They want money, but they don't want to give up. It's like, do you want pride or money? But you say you want money, but really what you want is pride. So then they end up at Redfin working for them, and really you're just a freaking Redfin employee. Like, it's mind blowing to me. You're a Purple Brick employee. You're a freaking employee. And I'm seeing that, and I try to, I want to like shake some of the consumers and say, do you realize you're literally getting the bottom of the barrel? When these people show up, if they show up to show you, they're like the worst. They couldn't make it as a real agent, and you're getting the crappiest agents, but you get to save some money. So I guess that's okay. And it's I get it. Like, I don't see it being that hard. I think that was the big reason. So the first couple of videos that I did for the Real Estate Blitz, and again, I'm probably not the right guy or even a good guy to do what I'm doing, but I wanted to try to help agents become better, because and one of the original videos I did, this was like 2 years ago, I believe the real estate agent is going to become an extinct species, and it's our fault. We're allowing it to happen. And for some of the companies that are going to help put us out of business, we're paying them to do it. We're literally giving them Monday every month to put us out of business. And it's frustrating. It's very frustrating to me. But yeah, I get it. I see the majority of real estate agents going way of the dodo.
Man, I'm gonna make like I'm like super freaking pumped up right now. Woo! So this is why I'm like so passionate, and why I did the book, because I want to help people build teams. And so anybody that goes to our site, I'll send you this book for free. Like, I'll pay for the book.
You got to get the book.
Yeah, I'll give you a free copy. So anybody watching this, I'll give you the book for free. Go to brokeragehacking.com, and I'll get it set up so you can get the book for free. And anybody that's watching the show, just go to brokeragehacking.com. You can go on Amazon and buy it. It's like $20 on Amazon, and then the Audible's on Amazon too.
Yeah, the Audible is awesome.
If you go to brokeragehacking.com, you can get it for free on there. And then on the site, I also have the Audible version on brokeragehacking.com, and it'll be set up to where you can get the book free. Just cover the cost of shipping and handling. I'll pay for the dang book to be printed. And one other little nugget I'll throw out there that I want to share with people is I create, so the book is like 220 pages, and lots of people have said it's really, really good. We sold thousands of copies and gotten a lot of great feedback, but it's only 220 pages. So there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't squeeze into the book. And when we started writing it, it was like 1,000 pages. And so something a lot of people got stuck on was the leadership component. They couldn't figure out like that transition, like the journey you go through personally as an individual, to go from being a self-employed agent to owning a business. And
Right.
so, we loosely talk about it in the book, but like I created an online course where I basically, break down the book. And there's 24 modules, and it's normally $200. And so I'll tell my team, for anybody that is watching this, to drop it down 50%. Brokerage hack. It's called Brokerage Hacking Academy, and it's 24 course modules. I go into each key pillar of the business, and I'll just tell them to run it for like the next 30 days. So I don't know when people are going to be watching this, but it'll be good until, what's today?
Yeah, so this will take off. I'll
Today's-
upload this on YouTube. So usually right now during the day, because I think on Facebook I got 54,000 followers, something like that. And it'll go slow because it's middle of the day. It'll kick off tonight, but when it goes on YouTube, that's when like everybody, and especially because a lot of the content and interview, and you know how YouTube works with certain keywords that I'm going to throw in on this one, because we talked about some serious stuff that I think will make it go wild online. And plus, I'm going to be sharing it out on my personal things. I'm telling you, probably in the next few days, and even like me, I'm going to pass this through our brokerage. A couple hundred agents here, they need to jump on here and do this. I'm a huge fan, and so outside of some of this stuff, I want you to talk a little bit about, which I rarely do. I want you to pitch about everything else that you have going on. Because the more I explore, the deeper I go, and even the emails that I'm getting, I'm like, I need to get on. I need to get on this train.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, like the key thing that I think got us into the position we're in right now as an industry is that in the 1970s and the 1980s, these companies came about that wanted to scale really, really fast. So think Remax, Century 21, Coldwell Banker. Franchising kicked off. And in the 70s and 80s, it became all about agent count, not agent productivity. And so the companies, what they decided to do was make the splits really advantageous to try to steal market share. And when they made the splits really advantageous, what they did was they built in all of these upsell opportunities into the operating system of the franchisees. So the franchisees would get people sucked in by the advantageous commission splits, and then they would upsell them coaching and all the other miscellaneous crap. And so what happened was most agents, like they're going to take the paycheck and they're going to blow it. They're not going to invest in training, or some of them will, but it'll be a very small percentage that does. And so over the last 30 years, the consumers have been working with agents that have not been properly trained. When you think about corporate America, the reason every company that's really successful becomes successful is because they dial in a career trajectory. Like people want to poo-poo the idea of the corporate ladder, but the corporate ladder is what makes companies so successful, because
Right.
there is a trajectory path you go to, becoming great at something. You don't learn to sprint first, you learn to crawl first. Just like as an agent, you got to learn how to master inside sales, then you master outside sales, then you master being a market expert. And the fourth domino, which I didn't talk about yet, is when you master leadership. When you can help somebody else basically do what you do, you have a much bigger impact on the world. So the key thing that I realized is nobody's helping the agents out there that are crushing it. There's all these agents out there that, despite all the crap that's happened in the industry, like despite all the stuff that's happened, like, they've paved their way, they've failed their way forward, selling 25, 30, 35, 40, 50, 60, 70 homes, and they're crushing it. And they're wondering, like, what's next? Like Tony Robbins says, the next, the way we as human beings derive happiness is we all derive happiness from forward progress. If we're not progressing forward, we're not going to be happy and fulfilled. And so there's this huge missing link in the industry where nobody is helping agents that are crushing it learn how to go and help 10 other people crush it. I mean,
Right.
imagine if you're an agent watching this and you're doing 25, 30, 35, 40, 50 deals, like in your mind, you're probably thinking like you're not in a position to go help lead other people. But the thing I realized in 2010 when I was broke as a joke was that there's a law of diminishing return. There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so many houses you can sell. And so if you can, if you can take everything in your brain, put it on a hard drive and give it to somebody else, think about how much faster they will grow, right? Like if I ask somebody on this call, like if you could go back in time to day one being an agent, and then you fast forward 12 months, like how much did you learn in that 12 months, right? Probably a crap ton. Now, if you could have taken all that knowledge you had just at the end of your first year in your career and like given that to yourself on day one, how much faster would you have grown?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 500%, right? Like you would have grown so much faster.
Oh yeah.
So that is the power that people that are in the industry right now have, is you already have this. You are the market expert. You understand getting clients to work with you. You understand how to get, clients to, agree to meet you face to face. Like, those 3 dominoes. And yet there's so many agents out there that have all these limiting beliefs about being a leader. They think they haven't sold enough houses. They haven't been in the business long enough. They don't have enough money. Like there's all these limiting beliefs, but like you already have mastered the 3 dominoes. Now go learn that the next 4th domino. This is the pinnacle of leading others to success. And if you genuinely care about the success of others, which if you're selling 25 to 50 houses, you have to care about people, because that's 5, 6, 7 times more than the average agent. You got to care about people. So like, why not go and help 10 or 15 other people copy and paste exactly what you did? And now, instead of you making like 200,000 a year, you're making $1 million a year, right? So like, that's the power of being able to take your knowledge and give it to lots of other people.
Right on, man. Look, we're pretty much at the end here. I feel like I could talk to you for like another hour. So this is what I would, to button this up. First off, I want to thank you for jumping on. I've been wanting to do this interview for a while, especially after I read the book when you sent it to me. But outside of that, I'm really hoping that as this gets out there and it's on YouTube and a lot of other places that I post it, it changes people's mindset. It changes real estate agents' mindsets. So real quick, just to button it up, if people want to reach out to you, how can they find you? How can they get information from you? And I've been posting up brokeragehacking.com but if you could just run through that one more time.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Anybody watching, I'll pay for the book. It cost me like, I don't know, $4 or $5 to print this thing. It's not like I'm ordering 100,000 of these things, to print. So anyways, it cost me like $4 or $5 print. I'll pay for it to be printed. You just cover shipping, handling. Go to brokeragehacking.com to get it. And then there's also an Audible version on there if you want to get it. It's all cheaper than if you were to get it on Amazon. And then also, if like speed of execution is really important for you, there's a lot of stuff that I don't talk about in the book. And I created this thing called Brokerage Hacking Academy. I literally just launched this like 2 months ago, and I'm gonna give a 50% discount to anybody watching this. So it's normally $200. You can get it for $97. And when you go on the website, there's a little trick. Okay, there's a trick when you go to the website. So it's super important you listen to this. When you go to the website after you buy the book, you'll see something pop up to get access to Brokerage Hacking Academy, and it's gonna say, "Don't click buy." Wait, and like I think you X out, and then a pop-up will pop up and it'll say, hey, for the next 30 days, it's going to be only $97. So until May 19th, we're going to have it $97. And the only thing I ask, and like, man, this is my biggest ask of anybody on here. The thing I'm really hoping to get, and the reason I'm doing all this so cheap is I'm really hoping that I can get some reviews from people as they go through the course. And I'd love to get feedback around what you think. I spent, I've brought in over $20 million in commissions over the last 9 years. And I've spent a vast majority of that money to learn where I'm at. So to say $97 is like cheap is an understatement from my context, because I've invested so much to get where I am. So right. I'm genuinely doing this because like I'm really hoping people will give me some feedback on how to improve it. And I'm also hoping that I can get some live testimonials from people, and they'll tell me, what they think. So good or bad, I just want the truth. Literally, I feel like, I kind of feel this moral obligation almost,
right,
to like fulfill this gap to help all these agents out there, because there's some freaking kick-ass agents out there that are selling, 30, 40, 50, 60 some odd houses, and like they can't progress any further. Like, and I've met tons of them. And like when I start kind of sharing with them all these little nuggets, and they're like, it's like ding, 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 light bulb moment, it's like all these light bulb moments, and they're like, holy cow. And like literally in 12 months, they're all growing 300 to 400%. Like every single person I've worked with, like personally, they've gone from, doing 25 deals to just shy of 100. I had one dude go from 0 to 110. I got some guy going from like 100 to 250 in 12 months. I mean, anyways, the results are awesome. I don't do coaching, so people are like, "Oh, you're selling coaching." I don't do one-on-one coaching because I don't have time. I have my primary team in Austin, so the only thing I can do is like help people kind of at scale, which is why I put up Brokerage Hacking Academy. It's 24 modules, like over 10 hours of content. I can't even tell you how long it took me to work on it. I'd probably get sick to my stomach thinking about it, but I think there's massive value there, and I really look forward to people checking it out and telling me what they think.
Right on, man. Hey, do me a favor. Hold on.
Hey, man, I'm gonna make one more thing. Like if you go through Brokerage Academy or you buy the book and you don't like any of it, I'll give you your freaking money back. Like if you don't get any value out of it, I'll give you your freaking money back.
Right on.
You heard me say it right here.
Seriously. Yeah, I heard it. It's all live. So just hold on one second, Kris. Once I'm going to button up real quick. I'm going to end the broadcast, and then I'll talk to you real quick offline. For everybody that's watching, of course, always, I appreciate it. The odds are good. Most of you are going to end up watching this on YouTube. I have people that follow me all over the nation. I appreciate it. And I got to say, this interview was exciting for me. Do me a favor, if you feel the same way, like, share, comment. If you know somebody that needs this, and I love it when somebody, another real estate agent that's getting value, shares it with another real estate agent, and leave comments because it's encouraging to me. Again, I make no money off of this. I just do it because I enjoy it. I help out. If you call me on my cell phone, I have people call me on my cell phone because my number's on YouTube, my number's on Facebook. Just call me. If I'm available, I'll answer. If I'm not, because I'm usually busy, especially right now. I mean, we're doing 1 to 2 listings per day. My wife and I alone. That's not including our team. It's insane. Really great market. I think we're putting 14 into escrow a week right now out here. Wow. So nice job, it's so wild. No, here's the thing. Fourth quarter, garbage. First quarter was first quarter. I expect that. But fourth quarter, we usually make more in fourth quarter than we do the entire year. Fourth quarter dumped for us, and it was a nightmare. It was pure hell. Right now, we're on fire, so I'm eating. Anyway, so do me a favor, like, share, comment. Keep checking out the Blitz. Pass it along. Tell your friends. If you're in the Riverside area, or if you're in the San Diego area, if you're in the Temecula area, we do a mastermind group every Tuesday at 11:30 off of Los Alamos Road in Marietta. I'm going to be starting an investor club just down south. Of course, I go to all the investor clubs in San Diego, so a lot of people that are investors watch Real Estate Blitz because I have a separate one just for you. You'll always see me at the investor meetings down there because I still flip homes. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. All right, I'm out. KSA Kris, have a good one.
Bye, guys.